Yeah, no worry. I'll just follow the time. It's all good. Mhm. Yep. Okay. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. This is the Hot Rocket Porsche Series for 2023. Porsche Cup coming at you with round number 4 here today. My name is Victor Cax. I'm going to be your one and only commentator for today. Due to unfortunate circumstances, we weren't able to have anyone else up on the stream. Although, if you happen to be on the Hot Rockets Discord and you would like to join in, why don't you give a message to the admin? Perhaps can arrange for that. But nevertheless, I'll be off commentating for you guys here today. As I said, today is going to be round 4 on Bahrain, the penultimate round of this Porsche series, as it were. And if you've been following the previous races, today it's going to be yet another exciting race once more. So, tonight we're going to be having 2 rounds of races. Of course, we're going to be starting off with a qualifying session to determine the starting grid for that, and that's happening right about now. And then followed by that, we'll have our first race. It's going to be 20 minutes with a standing start, and then we're going to be having a reverse grid of half of them in race number 2 for 25 minutes. Today's weather forecast is going to be sunny and clear for all 3 sessions, so hopefully it won't be anything too difficult for our drivers here today. The only challenge they'll probably have to contend with is going to be this very track, the Bahrain Grand Prix track, the first Middle Eastern circuit ever to host a Formula 1 race, and we'll be playing host today, virtually of course, in R Factor 2 for our 4th round at Bahrain. So today is going to be an interesting race as well, because with it being the penultimate round, this is going to bring our championship battle to a head. So hopefully you guys will be strapped in and ready for that, because this is probably going to go down to the wire a little bit. The difference between our top 2 contenders for the championship, as it were, is not too far apart. So we'll have to see how that was going to play out over the next couple of races here today. Of course, the car of choice is going to be the same that we've been running throughout this Porsche series, the 992 GT3 Cup car, which differs a lot from the regular GT3, as it does not have the usual sort of like electronic enhancements like traction control, ABS. Pretty much going to be down to the individual driver's skill here to keep that car under control, and especially on a fast track like Bahrain Natural Circuit, this is certainly going to bring a lot of challenge to our drivers. Although rumor has it, at least according to the chat here in Hot Rockets Racing Club, the Luca Martino, a current leader in the championship right now, has been practicing pretty hard right now. In practice, he was showing off like, oh, he plays at least 1 second clear of everyone. So, oh boy, let's see whether or not that's going to come to pass later on in the race here, ladies and gentlemen. But I digress, though, and it can still happen, within these couple of races. So once again, let's give it thanks to the Hot Rockets for inviting me to come on to provide a commentary here. This you can see all the sponsors up on your screens right now. These guys are the ones bringing all these action to you. Also, special thanks to Playbox, to Rocket Nation, Curvings, Silvercat, Race, Dozov, and Revelot, especially for providing the prizes that's going to be up for grabs, or rather I should say prize, really, because Luca Martino's endless streak of pole positions so far has put him in has already won him, in fact, this very watch. The Revelar R8 Racer was a prize. It was on offer for anyone who could get the most pole positions in this championship, and Luca Martino has taken the first 3 pole positions of this Porsche series, so congratulations to him yet again here. He's already guaranteed to get this R8 Racer regardless of how this race is going to turn out. However, there is still at least one more prize to go, and that's going to be for the driver champion overall. And speak of the devil, here comes Luca Martino coming out to start his, rather to resume his qualifying session. He's already set the fastest time right now, the power time as it were, of 1:58.573. That's half a second clear of his nearest rival right now. Sharik Zulkarnain is his closest competitor when it comes to that championship battle right now. The two of them pretty much separated by only 17 points. That's right, 122 points already for Luca Martino, and that is off of an amazing run of 3 wins in 6 races so far from our 3 rounds in this championship here. Nurshalizan has been the closest competitor to him. At the very least, he's been taking up those second place spots wherever he could, only taking a single race win so far, but the collection of points that he's had is already more than enough to keep him in contention for this championship here, as it were. So with 2 more rounds to go, including this one here, once I would love to see how this is going to go down to wire. So see the wire as well is kind of in the mix as well, although he's about 46 points behind Luca Martino right now, so it's going to take quite a significant effort on his part him to catch up. Of course, he missed out on the first round of this series, which undoubtedly has been a bit of a handicap, because otherwise his score line so far has been nothing short of impressive, because he's also taken up 1 win himself and 2 podium positions. So he's certainly, if he's going to be able to count for another win here today, perhaps this could go to a 3-way championship. Nevertheless, all that is going to be determined here pretty much from this qualifying session. As you can see, Luca Martino already, as I mentioned before, has already taken the top spot so far. Zulkarnain right now is the closest competitor to him here. Now Shalizan, unfortunately, sitting just behind Ayman Hazik's time right now of 1:59.289, and No Shalizan conversely is 1:59.391. So very, very close between the two of them. Could be anyone's game, really, to get onto the 3rd spot right now in this qualifying session. 8 minutes to go here. We basically have 11 drivers out on track right now, vying for positions on the grid here today. One notable omission as far as the entry list goes here is going to be Tengku Jan, because he's unable to make this race here today. So nevertheless, his brother Tengku Izanle is going to be competing here, and he's already up in the places right now. 5th position here, only 1.7 seconds behind our current pole position provisional holder right now, Luca Martino. So certainly going to be bringing some challenge here in the midfield. That's going to be for sure. Now, Bahrain is a very, very fast track, but then it slows down incredibly for especially this middle sector here. This one section here requires you to slow down to absolute crawl, and then it's pretty much going to be full out through this back straight here. and you can already see Shalizad. He's already green in his first sector. If he can pull off another green here, perhaps he'll be able to get himself up a couple of places, but we'll see if that's going to come to pass, because so far that green is only by like a margin of 15 milliseconds right now. So well, just slight mistake anywhere here or there perhaps would drop him back a little bit, but so far so good for him. Luca Martino, though, even though he didn't have a great first sector, he's gone purple already in the second sector, 3/10 up compared to everyone, compared to his previous time right now, and he's just about round out the final corner now. Is he going to be able to push that time even further up? Because we've seen what he's been able to do in practice so far, and indeed he will push the time up, not too significantly higher though, probably about only 1/10. Granted, his first sector and third sector times are not too great in that run in particular, but a fast sector 2 there, perhaps if you could put it all together nicely here, that's going to be a significant challenge there for Shalizad, who has just taken second place ahead of Zuka 9 right now with a time of 158.761. That's already about 2/10 clear of Zuka 9's time, who, by the way, had also improved on his effort, but unfortunately not quite enough to challenge neither Luca nor Shalizad at this point now. So, as we can see, Francesco Geniale currently out on track here. He's recently just taken away 5th place from Tango Ezanle, and by a margin of 3 to 4/10 right now. He's already broken through the 2-minute barrier, as it were, while Tango Ezan is still 3/10 away from being under that 2-minute mark. And it's currently sitting in the pits right now. Still plenty of time, although I say that 5 minutes is probably going to be enough for you to maybe run 1 or 2 flying laps here. So perhaps he's going to have to get up post haste if he wants to challenge Francesco to get back his 5th position. But all eyes is definitely going to be on these top 2 here. Luca Martino and Shalizan. Currently 17 points. They're still going to be vying to see whether or not they can win the overall Drivers' Championship here in this Porsche series. So that's certainly going to be a battle going all the way to turn 1, no doubt, from this qualifying session here. Now, Bahrain Grand Prix is, like I said, relatively fast track with only a very slow sector 2, so it's got a good mix of like places where it can certainly do lots of overtake. There's like 3 or rather 4 DRS zones that you can take advantage of in the Formula 1 Grand Prix. Obviously here we don't have that DRS activated for the Porsche series, but nevertheless those are certainly good overtaking opportunities here. As we've seen last time from Watkins Glen, these Porsche GT3 Cup cars handle those slipstreams very, very well. And we've seen time and time again these drivers here in the Hot Rockets Club just literally fighting off each other just to snatch that little bit of slipstream, just get themselves that bit of advantage, and that's always a recipe for great races out here. So 3 minutes are still remaining right now. Sharik Zulkarnain is going to be going for yet another run. So is Cito Wire right now, who unfortunately is sitting in 8th place right now. 3.6 seconds away from that fastest time right now. So he's got lots of ground to cover if he wants to break into the top 5 here. Remember, because when we get to race number 2, we will be having a reverse grid for the top half of the grid. So naturally, if you are already qualify into that top 5, there might be a good chance that you might get a good starting position for race 2 should you be able to finish in that position for race 1. So that certainly means that for Cedar Wire, for Ethan, for Husni, that's certainly going to be something to want to try to look forward to later on in this race. But nevertheless, Cedar Wire, who still had to wait to see what kind of time he's going to be able to set right now. Charlie Zan's just come around to and entered into sector 3 right now, so he's also going to be a flying run. It's already purple in sector 1. Oh, bit of a slide right now coming up the uphill section out of sector 2, and unfortunately that's completely ruined his lap, so he's decided instead to reset into the pits here, and that's a good call as well. There's only 2 minutes left, so by the time he comes around the lap, that should give him just enough time there to finish off one last lap, and that's going to be pretty much a last shot for him to try to try to challenge Luca Martino's time here. Sherry Zoka 9 as well, coming pretty hot, and on the heels of that, getting onto the curb and throwing a lot of the sand here out in Bahrain. Is certainly looking to try to get himself up to the top three. Is currently Amir Hazik is actually holding the number 3 spot right now with a time of 158.921. So that's going to be a margin that Sari Tsukanai could certainly try to challenge. He's only what 2/10 behind that right now. We'll see whether or not he'll be able to make that happen for him. Luca Martino, though, looking very, very comfortable right now. 3/10 clear of Shalizan's, 4/10 clear of Amir Hazik right now. Ayman Hazik right now. So this is going to be it's going to be quite a Saturday drive, I guess, for him. Again, he's already won the pole positions. Watch here, he's right now just going to be chasing for that drivers' championship, no doubt. So if he can continue to prove his dominance here in these qualifying sessions, that's certainly going to be making a great case for why he should be the overall champion here. Although, the proof is going to be in the pudding. It's going to be in the results at the end of this race here, nevertheless. But with the pace we've been seeing from Luca Martino all day long, I think it's like it's a pretty easy bet to say that he's going to be a major contender for the title here. 44 seconds still to run here. Luca Martino's just come across the line, so he probably could go for another flying lap once more, just in case Shalizan Ayman Hazik gets a little bit too close for comfort there. At least he's out there continuing to push his own times right now. So with this qualifying coming to close right now, it's pretty much going to be a shootout between these drivers here. Luca Martino, Nur Shalizan, who else is also still out there right now? I think Ayman Hazik is. I don't quite see him on the tracking map at the moment here. But Shalik Zulkarnain is certainly out there, although unfortunately it's just as we cut to him, he's gone completely off the track. Not enough time for him to start another lap, so it looks like 4th place is going to be the best that he can do so far. Luca Martino still fighting the grip, as it were, as he comes down this downhill section here, and which quickly just dips all the way uphill. One thing I really like about Bahrain is that even though it's like a modern circuit, which tends to always be kind of flat, this particular circuit still has a lot of good undulations, and certainly in a car like the GT3 you can certainly feel the difference going uphill and downhill here, notwithstanding the lack of driver aids in this car as well, certainly making the braking, the brake balance, the balance, and the handling of the car certainly brings a big challenge there for sure. But Luca Martino has been able to handle all those challenges pretty well so far, coming around this very fast section, kicking up some of the dust right now on the outside of the track here, still looking to try to push his times even further up. And the thing is, he's been yellow for the first couple of sectors here. So I don't know if he's going to be able to keep that going so far. No Shalizan, though, is already green in Sector 1, so perhaps it's going to be the best contender right now. He's 3/10 behind Luca Martino right now. Luca looks like he's not going to be coming... Oh, is he going to be coming across the line? Yes, he is, actually. Thought he was going to be diving into the pits there, but nevertheless, he will still come across the line. I don't think he'll be improving his time at all, though. Indeed, goes green in Sector 3, but still retains the same... slight improvement on his time, I think. 158.459 right now for Luca Martino. Ayman Hazik as well coming across the line. No Shalizan comes across the line as well. It looks like that will be the end of qualifying here. No one actually upgrading their positions here, so it looks like this is going to be the starting positions, as it were, right now. Luca Martino and Nur Shalizan in the fronts here, and Ayman Hazik and Shari Zulkarnain taking that second row. Here is the Drivers' Championship right now. As I mentioned before, Luca Martino and Nur Shalizan are currently separated by only 17 points, so that's still going to be a very close championship battle between the two of them. Going to the final round in Sepang later on. Cedar Wire is currently sitting in that 3rd spot right now. He's been able to participate in most of the races in the Porsche Championship, so kudos to him here. The thing is that missing out that first round certainly prevented him from being closer to both Luca and Nur Shalizan. Certainly it would have been exciting, though, if it was a 3-way battle here, but nevertheless, he is still not that far off, though, so perhaps could be a dark horse in this championship, as it were. We got Sharif Zulkarnain currently in fourth place, and interestingly, 4 points ahead of John Lay, who unfortunately is not going to be racing here today. So it looks like he may be dropping a place or two in this championship by the time this round is over here. I'm on the Z currently 50 points line here. It's probably like the furthest shot for him, I suppose, to get up into the Drivers' Championship. But nevertheless, I think he was still trying his very best. This is the head-to-head right now between both Luca Martino as well as Nur Shalizan here. So 122 points for Luca Martino, 105 points for Nur Shalizan. 3 wins so far for Luca, and most of that is off in the first round there. He won both race 1 and 2 at Zandvoort. He won race 2 in Road America. Didn't win the races in Watkins Glen though, but still managed to place on the podium for race 2. And the accumulation of all those points has allowed him to stay ahead of Noshadi Zan, who conversely had only 1 win to his name so far, but 4 podiums. So you can see that he's still very consistent. Just found it quite hard to beat the Italian here right now, especially with his ability to get up into pole positions currently. So now it's going to be a huge challenge here for Noshan to just keep this championship battle going on to the final round here, and all of that probably might come to pass here once we get to that first turn here, ladies and gentlemen. So everyone out on track right now. I believe they're just getting to their warm-ups here. You can see yet again, this is the score line as it were between all of them. I think like for Nurshalizan, he'd be looking to try at the very least, you know, to just stay up close enough to Luca Martino and hopefully try to keep him pressured throughout the race here. And I think that's one thing that you kind of have to do in situations like this where you're challenging for the Drivers' Championship. You don't want your rivals necessarily to run that far off from you. And given that in this series there's no like weight balances or any other kind of handicaps of that nature here, you know, the cars are very much on equal footing as it were. You know, there's no reason that Noshalizan shouldn't be able to match the pace that Luca Martino is able to do, say for, you know, probably the way he takes his lines or the way he handles his car, etc. And, you know, with both of them being that neck to neck as well. I mean, funny thing is that reading from the chat as well, you know, seems like Noshalizan has been taking this championship rather casually for himself, though, saying it's not when Mika was asking, you know, when everyone's ready for the race, he's the first one to say no. So I don't know what's up the deal with that, but hopefully, I mean, I guess like he's pretty confident. I suppose, you know, he knows exactly what the level of competition is going to be like for the Porsche series here. He knows that even with his eyes closed, probably could still qualify somewhere in the top 5. So I suppose the real challenge for him is to try to battle it out with Luca Martino in the race itself. As we see all the drivers in this series here so far, very, very competitive, you know, especially in the wet races here. So, unfortunately, given that Bahrain is a very dry, a very arid country, as it were, you know, the chances of there being rain naturally is pretty much slim to none. And that's pretty much reflected right now in the weather forecast for this race itself. So, with everything all said and done right now, it's going to be I really want to see how this is going to unfold here. I mean, I'm anticipating, you know, both Luca and Nurshalizan to be battling each other quite a lot. I'm on a Zeke being able to get himself into the second row ahead of Sharif Zulkarnain is certainly going to be quite a spoiler, I think, when we get to turn 1 later on. If he could seriously take advantage of like a good launch off the line, and with the nature of Bahrain's first 3 turns, you know, if you can successfully dip yourself into the inside of that first turn, it's a huge chance for you to be able to make up a place by the time you come out turn 3. And once you already set yourself up for a great exit out of there, you know, the long straight that comes out of there is going to be enough for you to pull some distance away from your rivals, certainly. So start on this race here is going to be of absolute importance, nevertheless. But we're going to be waiting for everyone to Get into places. Still one more minute to finish up this warm up here. And again, if you're just joining in the stream and you happen to be in the Hot Rockets Discord, if you'd like to join in on the commentary here, by all means, go ahead and give a message to our admins here. We'll gladly accommodate here because we're supposed to have a second commentator here. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, it seems like I'm going to be running this ship solo, as it were, right now. But it's okay. I can still handle it. But it'll be nice actually to have someone to join in on the commentary, especially someone who's competing actually or competed in this series here. I'd love to hear from people who have actually raced in this series here to get some insights into how the GT3 Cup car feels, in the sim here, especially on in the game like R Factor 2. I would love to hear that kind of insight here for sure. So, if you want to join in the commentary, go ahead and message our admins, and we will be gladly able to accommodate you for that reason alone. So, looks like we're going to be getting ourselves into our formation lap over here. Again, well, when it comes to the start here, I really want to see how the battle is going to come, how this battle is going to unfold here between Luca Martino and Nur Shahrizad. It seems like, at least pace-wise, I think Luca has shown himself to be the fastest out of everyone here. I mean, the maximum speeds he's been able to pull off here in Bahrain, a very fast and very naturally quick track. It's going to be quite the act to follow, as it were, for these drivers here. But nevertheless, I'm sure that Nur Shahrizad would try his very best. Ayman Aziz certainly will be looking to try to get himself up a few places, maybe, if he can get himself a good start off the line here and actually give Sharik Zulkarnain a run for his money. But not to forget as well is some of our other drivers who are going to be vying for some results here in this race. Cedar Wire seems to be the best of the rest, as it were, right now, and I'm going to be super interested to see how he performs in this race here on Bahrain. Francesco Geniale seems to be doing pretty well in qualifying here, but I want to see whether or not he'll be able to break in that top 5. Tunku Ezanle as well. I want to see how far he could go in this race here. He's certainly, while not as storied or as famous as his brother, has certainly competed a lot in these kind of virtual races and has shown that he does have quite a bit of pace actually. So certainly will be interesting to see how he'll perform in the race. So I think a bit delayed getting into that first race right now. Again, it's going to be a 20-minute long race here on Bahrain, from a standing start as well. Naturally, all eyes going to be on that first turn to see who's going to be able to get through, and I guess also more interestingly, who may not be able to get through. Although the run-offs in the first turns 1 and 2 is still enough there for anyone to, if you miss that braking in turn 1, you can still possibly recover and get back on track by the time you get to turn 3. But certainly not ideal, especially out here in Bahrain, where the sand, I wonder how R Factor 2 really handles sand sticking to your tires. Probably similar to how dirt will affect the grip of the tires, especially in the Middle East here. Sand can be sometimes very much a death trap sometimes, especially when you're really pushing the limits of the track and just happen to dip a wheel or two just into the sand. It just literally turns into ice, or rather your car just completely loses traction so easily. As if I recall correctly, Alex Albon actually found out the hard way back in 2019. But yeah, looks like we're going to be getting ourselves into the track soon. Is everyone coming in now? Coming into the grid here. Once we are able to get them out to do the formation laps here, then we should be able to get ourselves suited up for the start. So 11 drivers going to be taking part in this race here today. Luca Martino, of course, taking the pole position. He'll be starting in the front of everyone right now. We also have No Shalizan in second place. I'm an Zeke in third. Sharizuka 9 in fourth. See the Wire currently in fifth. So yeah, Francesco Geniale currently in sixth. Zan in seventh. We also got Ethan currently starting in eighth position. Gareth Husni is going to be in ninth place. Ozair is in 10th, and Kieran Lee, who I think just only joined in a little bit late, is going to be here in 11th place, starting from the back of the grid itself. So everyone's now lined up on the track here, and it's going to be flagging off for the formation lap right now. So you can see on your screens right now, these are the lap times and the grid positions of everyone right now in this race number one here. So Luca, like I mentioned before, Luca Martino of Arms Cybra, it's going to be in the front row right now. Shalizan is going to be starting alongside him. I'm on the Zeke and Sharizuka 9 sharing the second row here. Third row is going to be held by Sida Wire, as well as Francesco Geniale, Ezan Lei, and Ethan will be on that fourth row. Gary Husni and Ozair in the fifth, and Kirian will be in the last row of this race here. 11 drivers, all driving the same 992 GT3 Cup car by Porsche. So with like no handicaps for any of the drivers here, it's similar performance to everyone. The only differential here is going to be how you decide to tackle the Bahrain track with your own skills. So as we build up for the start of the race here, the Bahrain Grand Prix first hosted its Formula One Grand Prix in 2004, which, I hadn't like realized that. I always thought that it was just a much newer track. I guess I've only been really aware of this track since like the 2010s, but yeah, it's been around for a very, very long time. Has a lot of different configurations. Funny enough, we managed to get a taste of that during the pandemic when Bahrain played host to multiple rounds of the Formula One Grand Prix in order to fill up the calendar, and we've got to experience the very fast outer ring version of the track. And oh man, I would love to see another race using that kind of layout once more, because that was a very fascinating Grand Prix, as it were. So the thing is that we're going to be running on the standard Grand Prix layout, so very, very technical Sector 2. That's going to be the main focus of all these drivers here in order to try to maintain their pace in this race here, because especially when you get out of the straights here, you know, you're going to be looking to try to get a good slipstream out of everyone, and with three like very long straights here in Bahrain, you certainly want to have at least someone to chase in front of you so you can get the toe, and that's going to be of utmost importance if you want to make up places. So everyone's now lining up onto the starting line here. As soon as everyone's up, we're going to be able to start race number one of round 4 in this Porsche series, brought to you by Hot Rockets Racing Club, the penultimate round of the Porsche Series Championship here. So in 2 races time, we will see what the lead will look like by the time we get to our final round in Sepang. But here we go, race number 1. It's starting off right now. The lights are out. Everyone is pulling off right now. Luca Martino is cutting across to try to cover off Shalizan as best he can in order to try to take the best line into turn 1. Seems like no one's going to be giving him too much trouble there. Shalizan taking onto the outside there. Luca Martino pulls very much ahead here coming to the second turn, but look at what's happening behind. Bit of a tuck there going on. Francesco Geniale actually making a couple of places like that. Overtaking Amazik to take 4th place right now as he comes around the first straight, and still Sharizuka 9 getting under the sand a little bit there around the outside. Can't see the wire, but he's going to be drifting a little too hard coming out of the corner, maybe losing a place or two there. Sharizuka 9 currently tucked in behind Shalizan to try to take the two off as much as possible, but now they're entering the very narrow and very technical Sector 2 here, so this is going to be a huge challenge now for them to try to keep up the pace here. Ethan now putting a challenge onto Francesco Geniale, forcing him to get a little bit loose by the time getting exit, but still still no dice right now for Eden. He now has to try to block away Cedar Wire, who's already challenging him. Oh, the trip coming down and fully sideways there for Ethan. As he gets into a bit, there was Iron, both of them dropping several places all the way to the back. Now 10th and 11th place with them as they just cleared and now coming around to the back straight. So that's good news there for Cedar Wires for sure, as he will not face any trouble when it comes to traffic in front of him. Although he got Ezan Lei currently chasing very hard behind him, keeping him very honest indeed as they finish off this sector 2. Though Shalizan in the meantime not able to make up significant distance to Luca Martino at the moment. He's pulling away so far. 2.5 seconds in the lead right now. Shalizan Knight still trying to keep chase to Shalizan right now. Should be enjoying quite a bit of toll right now as they come around this next straight here. Braking really hard here. We can Luca Martino though is having a nice stroll now to that to the start finish line here. Will be taking a lead after lap number 1. Shalizan will be in second place right now. Zuka 9 still trying to take the toe off of him as Ayman Azik tries to take a look on the inside right now, but will not be able to get enough speed though to catch up to Sharik's position yet. Shalizan seems to be really good right now in that second spot, but still he's not gonna he really wants to try to close the gap to Luca Martino, but that doesn't seem to be happening at the moment here. So if he can still at least keep this defense up on Sharik Zuka 9, that should still suffice though as far as this championship is concerned. So things are settling down right now. The gap's already forming as it were here between all the drivers here. A bit of a train going on from second place to fifth if all 4 of these cars are able to or at least are within range here to get a toe off each other. He got Francesco Geniale, who was able to make up a couple places quite impressively in that first lap or in the first few turns. So it looks like he's going to be on for a top 5, possible top 5 here. So that's going to be exciting for him. For sure. Sharik Zoka 9 nevertheless has already overtaken Ayman Azik, so he's going to be the one mainly keeping the pressure onto No Shalizan. But the whole time Luca Martino is going to be pulling away from everyone. Purple on the first sector so far. So I don't know, like I want to, I'm already like 3 seconds clear of No Shalizan, so he's already made up like half a second since that last lap already. So he's under no pressure whatsoever here. If anything, like if anything, No Shalizan is the one that's going to be in pressure here because of Sharik Zokanai continuously hounding him from behind. So Cedar Wire now seems to have already pulled quite significantly away from Tuko Ezanle, still a distance away though from being able to catch up to Francesco Geniale, but if he's going to be able to get close enough to get the toe off of him, then perhaps he'll be able to join in this train that's going on right now on the main straight here. Luca Martino still in the lead of the race as it were here, ladies and gentlemen, so it looks like he might be guaranteed another easy victory for him if he can keep this pace going though. Being 3 seconds clear, No Shalizan, perhaps he can already start thinking more about the management of his tires for the rest of this like sub 20-minute race here. So now with the train all kind of like settling in here again, it's all going to be about the toes coming out of these 3 main straights as it were here on Bahrain. Oh, Geniale going a little bit too wide there. Seemed to have made a mistake coming through sector 2. Is that going to compromise him too much there? Maybe is this going to open up the door now for Cedar Wire to challenge him for that 5th place? We'll have to see though. Seems like he's recovered pretty well, though I hope he hasn't picked up any sort of penalty for going off the track like that. But nevertheless, he's still able to get on track and still staying ahead of Cedar Wire, which is most important right now. But seems to have dropped off significantly from the train right now, or rather he's already had a big gap between himself and Ahmed Zeke here, so that's certainly going to affect his ability to maintain the pace with the top 5 right now. So again, this might be an opportunity for Cedar Wire to challenge him for that 5th place here, so that's going to be interesting to see. Sherry's looking 9 in the moment, not been able to make significant gains, although he's still keeping up pace with No Shalizan, still staying within the half a second gap between himself and No Shalizan in 2nd place at the moment. Although Again, with Ayman and Zeke still hanging on behind that whole battle here. Wonder if like a mistake might be opening up the door for him to be able to come through there. But nevertheless, still settling in for this race right now. We're only we're only like 7 minutes into this race right now, but already things already settling into the regular pace here. Let's have a look at the replay once more. I think it's going to be of Ethan's slide here. Yeah, I think must have broke the brake balance, completely locked up his rear there, and unfortunately collected Ozair, who's a little bit of an innocent party in that, but just unfortunately you're not able to avoid him with all the traffic that's going on in front of him, or rather, and then being able to see Ethan until it was like too late. So very unfortunate there for Ethan, who, like, by the way, if I recall correctly, was started in somewhere in the 7th or 8th position, was able to make up quite a few places during the start, so it looked like he was probably going to be on for a top 5 in this race here, but sadly, with that mistake coming through the slowest corner on Bahrain there, had unfortunately has completely compromised his race right now, and for him in particular, he's already decided to call it quits when this race. He's already left the track, as it were, so not going to be challenging for any more places he is, unfortunately. And to see the wire, as I said, I think Francesco's mistake might have just opened the door now for Cito to put the pressure onto him, and perhaps he might be on for a challenge for the P5 here. Francesco having to brake a little bit hard, and that actually disrupted the Cito's drive there a little bit, forcing him to go quite wide. And unfortunately, that's opened up the gap now for him, so he's going to have to redo all that work that he's already done to catch up Francesco once again. But, well, we'll have to see whether or not he'll be able to catch him up. Still, of course, plenty of time, though. We're about 9 minutes into this race here, almost at the halfway point. So, I'm barring that these guys having to take any pit stops here, which in this 20-minute race with, like, sunny, clear weather, I doubt anyone's going to be coming in for pits, and I believe that there's no mandatory pit stop required for these guys here. So let's have a look at the replay once more here to see. This is going to be Francesco's little excursion, so it seemed like it took a little bit too much speed in that section there, which by the way goes downhill. So I could see that perhaps like might have misjudged the entry speed coming to the corner there, so perhaps went a little bit off rhythm. So that was what compromised his position in the first place, and that was what allowed Cito Wire to catch up to him here. And you can see that, just losing that toe in the main straights there means that he's already so far behind the current 2nd to 4th place right now. He's already 3.1 seconds away from Ayman and Zeke. So again, very, very costly mistake for him, because if he had been able to keep up with the toe there, that would have made it so much easier for him to defend his position from Cito Wire. But now he's going to have to do it without the benefit of the toe coming off of Ayman's car. So again, just making things a lot more difficult than he needs to for him. But for the rest, though, Sharik's Kanai is already settled into a very steady rhythm here. He's already purple in Sector 1, by the way. So it's already looking pretty healthy in this race right now at the halfway point, which certainly doesn't bode well for No Shalizan, although Shalizan has been able to keep his sectors green so far, so at least he's still keeping good deltas, as it were, in this race here. And this was, I think, the excursion that we saw Cito Wire had just now, having to get on the brake a little bit unexpectedly there. I'm not sure exactly whether it's because of a brake check on Francesco, or perhaps he was coming into that sector a little bit too hot. But that unfortunately was a huge opportunity for Cito Wire to be able to catch Francesco's 5th place. Unfortunately, now he's going to have to redo all that work right now. But again, we're still 9 minutes in the race here. I think there's still plenty of time for him to try to catch that up. But again, I think the gap between himself and Francesco is far enough they will not benefit from the toe anymore. So it's going to be quite the effort for him if he wants to try to catch back up and continue to challenge that P5. No other major changes in positions at the moment, though, as everyone else still stuck behind each other when it comes to these when it comes to these trains. Almost called them DRS trains, but again, there's no DRS on the Porsche GT3 Cup cars. It's really just the aerodynamic toe that is creating this kind of situation here. So I suppose that's the double-edged sword of this track layout here. Again, a lot of straights, so you can definitely get a toe of everyone, but then once you lose that toe, see how far back like Francesco was after that mistake just now. Like everyone else here from second to fourth place has just been pulling further and further away from him now. 4 seconds between Francesco and Ayman Hazik as we come around and enter into sector 3 here. So Francesco was just losing so much time there just by virtue of not having the privilege of the toe anymore. So that's why it's so vital for these drivers here to stay close enough to each other here, so that they will be able to at least stay within touching distance. But then once you lose that slipstream, that's it. It seems like your race is pretty much going to be with whoever is going to be behind you from that point on. Nevertheless, despite not having any sort of toe whatsoever, Luca Martino is still so far ahead of everyone. 3.1 seconds, so it's already kind of pacing himself pretty well now that he's already got himself that significant gap from the start already. So for him at least, this race is all just going to be about tire management, just making sure he doesn't push the tire too much, making sure he has maintain a good delta throughout the rest of the race right now. 7 minutes still to go, and frankly, he's been doing a fantastic job of keeping the pace up compared to everyone here. Still, his last time was 2:04, and that's still like 1/10 faster than Shadizan's 0.5. So at the very least, it's making sure that he maintains that 3-second buffer between himself and Shadizan. So even if he makes a mistake somewhere in this next 7 minutes, there's still at least that 3-second buffer that will surely allow him to continue to defend his lead, even if Shadizan catches up to him though. So for Suzuka 9 though, so far he had been very much behind Shadizan for the most part, but by the time we come to this section here, he's already quite significantly behind he's already quite significantly behind Shadizan. We can have a look at a replay right now. I'm not sure whom exactly this is here. Okay, that seems to be a mistake coming in turn 1 there. I think, is that Luca Martinez's car in front there? So couldn't quite tell who's on board that. Okay, that was I just heard that was Cito Wire versus Francesco Geniale. So it seems like he made a mistake through turn 1, and that's further compromised his position here. Although, as I see the timing screen here, he's already 1 second here. Oh, bit of a bump and grind going on here between these two drivers. Currently, it was Ozaire's completely ping-ponging around the track here. Yellow in sector 2 right now. Seems like his spoiler is still on, but I'm sure that there must be some damage already done to Ozaire's car right now, just further adding to his woes. Again, so unlucky in that first lap already to have been collected by Ethan when he's spun in sector 2. Then now it's completely been ping-ponged around on that straight there. So now seems like he's already stopping to just teleport back to the pits, it looks like. And that just might be the end of the race for him. So unfortunate there for Ozair El Kadri. So, yep, it looks like it's going to be a DNF for him now as he's left the track. So very unfortunate there for Ozair. He was still able to push on in spite of the contact he had with Ethan, but it seems like he's not going to be able to make up any places from that point on. So let's have a look at the replay again. So this is Ozair. Also, Kieran went wide first, so that Ozair thought he was having an opportunity here to try to pass. But Kieran decided to cut across, and it seems that Ozair wasn't able to react in time. And unfortunately, because of the latency when it comes to sim racing like this, he was not able to correct it in time before like the pings basically forced him just into both walls. And as Luca Martino can attest, these walls here are very hard indeed. So unfortunate there for Ozair. And yeah, had this kind of discussion with John about like the big difference between one of the key differences between like sim racing and real racing, particularly in touring cars here, is that in especially in stock car racing, you expect to have a lot of contact between cars, but sometimes even when you're like bumping wheel to wheel, it can still somewhat maintain some good control. But here is like a really good example in a sim where you can't really have that sort of like full body contact with the car, through a very through the straight there, because of the network, what do you call it, like the collision boxes between the cars, just freaking out and glitching whenever two cars are in like the same position, and that unfortunately just completely pushed Ozier off into a vector that he was just not able to recover from. Whereas in real life, both cars could possibly still kind of like be stuck to each other, but still continue running in a straight line. But in that situation there, when the network like updates the position of both Ozier as well as Kieran's car, that unfortunately just completely bounced Ozier off of Kieran's car, and it just makes it a completely unrecoverable position. So that's why John personally felt that that aspect of sim racing doesn't quite prepare drivers for the realities of racing touring cars in real life, because especially with especially with all cars being in the same performance here, you have to naturally expect a lot of like bumping with other drivers, even in like the World Touring Car Series, the World Touring Car Championships, like bumping drivers bumping each other is just a very, very normal occurrence. And I think unless you have a sim that's like able to kind of like compensate for the latency from like network packages and all that, it's very hard to recreate that kind of environment in these virtual races. So nevertheless, while we're currently less than 2 minutes away from the end of the race right now, no major changes of positions here, although we just lost Ozier, so that means there's still 9 cars in and running here. I'm looking a little bit loose coming out of turn 2. Could this be an opportunity right now for Sharik Zuka9 to try to make up a place here? He's going to try to get past him on the straight, as it were, right now. Going side by side, now it's going to be a battle off the brakes here, but Imanzik still has the edge, though. He still has the inside, but look at the switcheroo that Sharik Zuka9 is trying to pull on him. Forcing him to get all the way up under the curves right now, but Imanzik not budging at all, still keeping his car on the racing line and keeping Sharik Zuka9 just behind him. Imanzik now on the threat. So is Francesco Geniale. Finally, Cedar Wire has already caught up significantly to him. This is going to be a battle now for 5th place here. Cedar Wire tries to get alongside, but Francesco still has the inside coming through. So Cedar is going to look to try to get a better exit out of this. They're rolling side by side. Imanzik though still trying to keep Sharik Zuka9 behind him, as Sharik getting a little bit testy on the throttle there as it comes around the back straight here. Cedar Wire as well going a little bit sideways, but still able to stay behind the tail of Francesco Geniale. So both of these battles right now unfolding before us. One for 3rd place, one for 4th place right now. Francesco Geniale still able to hold on in front of Cedar Wire. That's a break as they enter into the uphill section here at the end of Sector 2. Imanzik still ahead of Sharik Zuka9, as I can see from the timing monitor right now, so no changes in positions quite yet, but both of these drivers still pushing each other to the absolute limit here. So let's see how Cedar Wire is going to try to tackle this. He's still keeping the pressure on to Geniale. Geniale going a little bit wide. That's sloping down the exit right now. And Cedar Wire pounces upon his opportunity, trying to get the toe off of him, gaining some speed right now. Dropping on the outside. Francisco has taken a very defensive line, but is that going to be enough there? Cedar Wire around the outside tries to overtake Francesco, coming around the final turn, but no dice. Francesco still able to stay just a hair's width ahead. So it looks like he's still going to be in 5th place for now. Sharik Zuka9 though, then coming into turn 1, it's going to be running a challenge on the Imanzik right now. Is that going to come to pass though? I don't think so. From the timing monitor, it seems like Sharik had to back off a little bit coming through the 3rd turn, but the checkered flag already out actually. So Yeah, the race was already over by the time these guys got to that start finish line. So it was quite the battle there from Francesco, but he still was able to hold on to fifth place. So was Ivan and Zick able to hold on to the third place there. Wow, quite a bit of action going on in that last bit there, but unfortunately, timer says no. It only went on for one more lap there. Probably for Sharikan as well as See the Wire. They would be probably cursing the fact that like Luca Matteo was just that much faster than everyone else and already started, or rather, already finished the race for them. Right there and then. So here we have a look at them once more. This was onboard to See the Wire as he was bringing the challenge of Francesco Geniale, and this was a great opportunity for him around the outside. Still gave him plenty of speed on the inside, but the slide going loose there lost him so much traction. So that was what allowed Francesco to just stay ahead there. And unfortunately, See the Wire not able to catch him by the time it got to the straight. So it's still going to be Francesco who finishes in fifth place. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, what a photo finish that was. So that will be the end of race number 1 here on Bahrain. We still have one more race to go. It will be 5 minutes longer than the first race, but it will be in reverse grid. So reverse grid only for the top 50%. Wonder if Ozire and Ethan will be joining us again for that for this race number 2. If that were to be the case, I believe it should be first to sixth position. Given that we have 11 drivers on the grid here, I believe the top 6 places will be the ones experiencing the reverse grid. So that would mean like. Yep. That should mean that See the Wire will be the one leading the pack coming through race number 2 here. But as you can see on the screens right now, this is the results of the first race. Luca Martino yet another win to add to his tally right now. So right now 4 wins for Luca Martino total out of these 4 rounds here. So fantastic for Luca here. Although Shadi-san still able to take that podium position, nevertheless though. So this is again still going to be a close championship here. Although I think for Nur Shalizan in particular, he would definitely have loved it if he was able to take a win here instead of Luca. That would have been able to close the gap. But now I think with the scoreline here, that means that the gap is still going to widen somewhat between both Luca as well as Nur Shalizan. I'm going to see fantastic result for him to get into third place here on the podium ahead of Sharik Zulkarnain, and Sharik was certainly giving him a huge challenge towards the end of the race there. But unfortunately for Ayman, Luca was able to get actually finish the race there on the line. So that meant that last lap pretty much kept Ayman Hazik in that third position, because I think if he went on for one more lap there, perhaps we would have seen a change position. And speaking of that one more lap there, See the Wire would have wished that he was able to get another lap, especially after losing so much traction out of the final turn. But Francesco Genial certainly will be so happy with the fact he was able to beat See the Wire to the line in that last lap. So wow, I can't wait to see how race number 2 is going to unfold here, ladies and gentlemen, because with the top grid completely flipped around, I mean, See the Wire is going to be starting ahead of Francesco. That means Sharik Zulkarnain will be starting ahead of Ayman Hazik. And that means that Shalizan will be starting ahead of Luca Martino. Although, knowing the kind of pace that Luca has been showing in this championship and also on this track itself, wouldn't be that surprised if he's going to be able to make up a few places already in the first few laps. So we're going to be seeing, this is the onboard right now, Sharik Zulkarnain battling Ayman Hazik in that final lap. And you can see that, again, going a little bit loose, but still keeping it under control. Again, these GT3 Cup cars don't have the same traction control or ABS as the regular GT3 car cup. The regular GT3 car has. So that was why the car is a lot more of a handful to deal with, especially for these drivers in the sim. But the whole time he was just fighting control over his car there, just barely able to keep himself, in line with Ayman Hazik through that final bit. So man, that was very, very close battle between the two of them there. So we're gonna be setting up for race number 2 now. Weather condition again, it's still going to be sunny, it's still going to be clear, so no change in that regard there. So I think like it's like very much a standard race, as it were, you know. So without that sort of differential, you know, I'm expecting that Luca probably might be having like a what do you call it, a Ricky Bobby moment, just kind of like passing everyone from the get go. I mean, the guy's just so fast. I mean, there's a reason why he's already won the pole position prize, you know, for this series here. He's an incredibly quick driver, so wouldn't be at all surprised if he's already getting himself up into the podium places, you know, by the midpoint of this race, or maybe even earlier than that. I mean, we didn't really see him get challenged all that much, really, in race number one. So again, with No Shalizan going to be starting in front of him, I think like for him in particular, he needs to stay ahead of Nicola Martino no matter what in this race here. Once he gets passed by Luca, I think it might be kind of like game over, or rather, I mean, a bit harsh, I suppose, to say game over at that point. But if he's not able to block Luca Martino effectively in this race, it's pretty much going to be, I think, nigh on impossible for him to prevent Luca from widening that championship gap between the two of them by the time to get the Sepang. So the points line here is only after round 3, where you still haven't counted the full official results. That will still have to wait until all the protests and perhaps penalties have been tabulated and the end of round 4. So as of right now, you can see the score line there between Luca and Nurshalizan still very close, but that's only because we haven't counted the score here from race number 1. We'll find out a little bit more about how that how the championship lead will be like only after the race stewards have already finished applying all the penalties and such that you need. So again, race number 2, 25 minutes long. It's going to be a 50% reverse grid, means that the top half of the grid, the finishing order of race number 1 is going to start in reversed order coming into this race here. And I think it's a very important thing for the drivers, as some had unfortunately found out last time in Watkins Glen, is that they got to make sure they set the correct fuel amount, because we had drivers who basically ran out of fuel at the end of race 2 because they carried the same amount of fuel that they did for race 1, which was a much shorter race. So yeah, that's the kind of mistake that you don't want to make, you know, in these in these kind of championships here. And unfortunately, with these drivers not having the benefit of a team or rather a race engineer in the ear to like remind them of that fact, they have to kind of like take note of that personally. So yeah, if any drivers happen to be watching the stream right now, make sure you add the extra 5 minutes of like whether like the 2 or 3 extra laps of fuel into your car, so that you don't run out by before the end and be forced to take an additional pit stop that you don't need, you know. So yeah, that's that's something that some drivers unfortunately had to experience in the last round's race for the Porsche series. So let's hope that doesn't happen again today. And yeah, weather condition, as we mentioned, still gonna be sunny, still gonna be clear. I wonder if like there's ever been a wet race on Bahrain before. I don't know. I mean, it is a very arid place. I don't know what's the precipitation over in Bahrain for the most part. I mean, I assume it still sometimes rains in the desert. I mean, I know it's kind of rare sometimes, especially in the Middle East, but man, like, yeah. If anyone knows if there's ever been like a wet race in Bahrain, like, let me know, because I would love to, like, it'd be one of those like little factoids that I love to kind of collect, you know. This is a little kind of like trivia that I always like to learn about, especially when it comes to racetracks, especially races that have hosted Formula 1 before. I'm always all about that kind of trivia, you know? Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, going to be warming up right now, getting into race number 2 here. Again, the top half of the grid will get reversed. I believe Ozair as well as Ethan will be rejoining us for this round here. So they're going to be out on track once more and hopefully not get into too many thrills and spills in that first lap. Particularly for Ethan, you know, he was already in like on track in that first lap there to possibly challenge for a top 5, but completely lost it in sector 2 and unfortunately had to take a DNF. I had to retire from the race after that. And I'd love to see him be able to complete the race this time around, although he'd be pretty much just fighting for the whatever additional points they will be. Certainly going to be quite far out of it, I think, as far as the Drivers' Championship is concerned. That is very much going to be a head-to-head race between Shalizan as well as Luca Martino. But then again, for these other guys who aren't competing for the lead of the championship, it's still going to be bragging rights. You know, the Hot Rockets Racing Club still they love these kind of like races there to kind of like prove who is like the faster of the other, and it's all usually kind of good fun, you know. So, but nevertheless, that's still something for these guys to challenge for, even if, you know, the battle for the championship is mostly going to be a top 3 affair. So, warm-up has just about ended. Again, it's going to be a reverse grid for the top half, and I believe that's going to be from 1st to 6th position here. It's going to be 50% plus 1, or like rounded up to the nearest. The nearest, like I say, if it's like 11, if it's 11, you divide it by 2. What do you get? 5.5. You round out the 0.5, you become 6. So it should be the top 6 naturally. Quick maths, you know. And the funny thing is, like, you know, you really have to do that mental arithmetic. I think there's going to be a lot of mental arithmetic to do when we get to Sepang later on, as we try to calculate in our heads who exactly is going to be taking the championship overall by the end of race number 2 at Sepang. So that's going to be a bit of fun once we get to that point. So 30 seconds to the start right now. Again, drivers, please fill up your tanks with the extra laps of fuel so you don't run out. All right. So where are we looking at? So yeah, see the wire, of course, he'll finish in 6th place. He is now going to be starting on the front row alongside Francesco Geniale. I wonder if we're going to be seeing the grid positions come out later on stream, but can tell you that like that battle between Zito Wire and Francesco Geniale, as well as the battle between Sharik Zulkarnain and Ayman Azik, is going to be something to watch out for later on the start of race 2, because it's pretty much going to be a battle to turn 1 for these 4 guys. And then we're going to see whether or not Shalizan will be successful in keeping Luca Martino behind him. If like Luca is able to jump him from the start already and overtakes him in turn 1, I think it's pretty much going to be so hard for Shalizan from that point on to really close the gap in the championship there. So let's have a look on the starting grid once more. So as you mentioned, see the wire, Francesco Geniale going to be in that front row, Sharik Zulkarnain and Ayman Azik in the second row. Shalizan and Luca Martino are going to be next to each other in that third row there, and they're going to be starting ahead of Tunku Izanle as well as Gareth Husni. Then, if you look at the back there, we have Kieran Lee and Ozair. I think we have one driver that's already dropped out. Oh, okay, I think Ethan might not be joining us for this final race here. So, it looks like Ozair, nevertheless, will still be continuing on. So, let's see how he's going to do. Again, he's going to be starting from the back, and having to retire from that first race there means that pretty much and a little bit less running compared to everyone else in this race, but hopefully that wouldn't affect him too much. And let's hope that this time around it's going to be able to get a much cleaner pass onto Kieran Lee, unlike last time when he got ping-ponged around this very straight here, as you can see on your screens. So yeah, main thing is going to be looking at turn 1 battle between Sido, Francesco, Sharik, and Ayman Azik. I think it's going to be massive shuffle for these top 4 drivers here on the start of race number 2. want to see whether or not Nurshalizan will be able to keep ahead of Luca Martino on the start. Hopefully prevent him from being able to get ahead of him by the time they get through turn 3. And if that comes to pass, then Nurshalizan needs to be able to keep Luca Martino behind him the whole race in order to make up for losing out on the win in race 1. At the very least, it just mitigate the amount of damage that does to the championship battle between the two of them. But if Luca gets past him, might be seeing from 6th to 1st kind of situation there maybe for Luca. But let's see how that will unfold here, ladies and gentlemen, as we pull up to the line right now. See the wire leading the pack, as it were, here in race number 2. Him and Francesco Geniale had an exciting final lap. Probably I wish that it went on for one extra lap, but unfortunately, timer says no. So, lights are going to be lighting up as soon as everyone has lined up. And there we go. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 lights. And it's go, go, go. See the wire taking the lead right now, but still challenged very heavily here from Francesco, who's trying to elbow his way into the inside coming to turn 1. Starting Circle 9, staying ahead of Ivan Zeke for now, as Francesco backs him up a little bit. Silver Wire forces taking around the outside. Oh, loses the line a little bit of place there coming towards turn 2, as Francesco Geniale takes the lead. Bit of a kerfuffle going on in the back there, as some cars going a little bit wide and kicking on a lot of dust. But by the time the dust settles, Francesco is still ahead of Silver Wire, who has a look at the inside. Ooh, that looked almost like a collision course going on there, but Starting Circle 9 took that opportunity to take in front of Cedar Wire, and now it's going up into P2 here. Now challenging Francesco as he enters Sector 2. Oh boy, quite the shuffle going on. Luca Martino's already gotten past. Shalizan has already gotten past Ivan Zeke as well. He's up into 4th place here, now witnessing this battle between Cedar Wire and Showing Zuka 9. And Showing tilts onto the far end of the curve and probably compromises exit a little bit. Cedar Wire trying to capitalize on it so far, but Luca Martino is keeping him on his ride behind him. It's a slow down for the slowest points on the Bahrain Grand Prix track. Now coming out to the back straight here, getting a lot of tow out of the top 6. Very much a single file line right now. Luca Martino having a slight peek on the inside, can't quite get the differential in order to get past the wire quite yet as we get up to the uphill section now. Pulling every last bit of horsepower out of these Genie Tree Cup cars is Luca Martino as well. See the wire and Bowen up still able to keep himself in their relative positions here. 3rd and 4th right now for Cedo as well as Luca. Showing Zuka 9 still able to stay up in 2nd. And right now, Shanor Shalizad held back by Ayman Hazik here. So one car separates the 2 championship contenders right now, and Luca Martino's looking so good right now. Francesco Geniale is still in the lead and is starting to build a bit of gap right now. Sharik Zuka 9, that's not something that Sharik will want right now. He wants to be able to keep up with Francesco's car, at least keep him challenged for the lead. Coming across the line right now again, last time around, Luca Martino's already built up like a 2-second gap, but Francesco is only a half a second ahead of Sharik, which is going to be forcing him now to take the defensive line coming to turn 1. See the wire back to a little bit. Oh, bit of a touch on the back there, but Zuka 9 actually benefits a little bit out of that. Not able to get past Francesco quite yet, but it's ever getting closer and closer by the time they come up to the 1st straight. So a bit of a tow going on. Luca Martino having a look at the inside to see the wire right now. Is he going to be making a pass? Yes, he is. Sharik's going to be coming in. He's trying to close the gap, but unfortunately bumps into Luca Martino and didn't expect him to be in that position there. But Luca just completely takes advantage of the situation, gets himself up to P2, and now he has only one more target to go, and that's going to be Francesco in that 1st pole position here. I'm going to Zeke now trying to take on the inside. Looks like he's going to be keeping himself, or rather trying to keep him in battle right now. And no Shalizan stays in P5 for now. See the wire going a little bit wide there to try to keep all the Shalizan on 9. A bit of a gap right now between himself and Luca Martino as Francesco now desperately tries to hold on to the lead, but Luca is hot on his heels. 2nd lap right now. Oh boy, could still be anyone's race right now. Luca Martino having a peak yet again at the end of this straight here, but again, still not the most ideal place to a position quite yet because it's not a heavy braking zone, and going uphill here you want to be able to stay close enough to make sure that you stay onto that hill by the time you get to the last straight off the lap. And this is a very critical point here. Luca Martino not able to get himself close enough. Cedar Wire though is literally right up against Charlie Zuka 9's tail, so he might be able to make out a place here if he can find the speed coming around to this next couple of turns. So Cedar Wire now in a position now to try to keep the challenge going, but looks like he's not able to have a peak quite yet. A runner is biding his time now as he come around the final corner here to get on the start finish rate. So Francesco still in the lead right now. He had a purple last lap, but this time around Luca has the purple sector tree here, or rather he had the purple sector tree until Nurasadi Zan actually beat him to the punch a little bit by a mark of milliseconds really. But both of these drivers absolutely showing the pace right now. Nurasadi Zan taking on the inside. Ayman and Zeke elbows are coming out right now, and Ayman is forced on the track a little bit. That has compromised his mission for quite a bit, and I think Nurasadi Zan, by the time he gets out of it, he's already up into fifth place. But Ayman fights back, takes the inside, locking up his inside wheels. He does so, but still no dikes. Nurasadi Zan is still alongside him as a car around this part. They will still be battling out, drag racing their way through this very narrow and very twisty section, but Nurasadi Zan stays in P5 by the end of it. Now, we got Zan Lei taking advantage a little bit. Oh, look at the spin going on there. I think it was Luca McDonald, so I think Francesco completely spinning out and losing several positions as a result. Luca Martino just says, thank you very much, takes the lead of the race, and right now is ahead of showing Luca 9. My goodness. What the heck happened there to Francesco there? He's now down into 7th place. I think Ayman Zeke as well might have got tangled into that because he's currently behind Tuko Izanwe. So let's have a look at the replay right now of that situation there. So we saw, I think that Sasha is going to get like alongside whoever's in 3rd place just now. So this was having a look at it. Okay, so this was the previous overtake. Luca Martino did a fantastic one there, but Sharik, he didn't expect Luca to be in that position, so he kind of turned in expecting to try to cut off Cedar Wire there, but unfortunately bumped straight into Luca Martino and he had to back out of it. So that gave the position to Luca Martino pretty much. But now, I just want to see what happened to Francesco there. I saw 2 cars going side by side through that corner there, and it seemed like contact might have occurred between 2 cars there. So we'll see whether or not we'll be able to bring up the replay in time. But as of right now, Luca Martino in the lead, purple sector 2, purple sector 3. This guy is pulling away already. It's all over. Luca Martino right now, fastest guy in Bahrain, proving us once more that he's a formidable challenger here in this Porsche series. So let's go ahead and see how whether or not Francesco is going to be able to recover. I think this should be the replay, or I think this is a different replay here. See the Wire trying to get up into. Okay, so I think Luca had already overtaken Francesco, and that was Cedar Wire trying to make a move on the inside of Ayman Zeke, and just unfortunately caught out Francesco as he was like turning in there. So very unfortunate, and this is another piece of contact going on here. Ezanle and Ayman Zeke as they try to battle it out for 5th place right now. Cedar Wire taking advantage of this, just trying to pull away from this pack right now. Still in 4th place, but Ezanle has already got himself ahead of Ayman Zeke now. He's up into 5th place. Still a 3-way battle though, as Ayman Zeke not quite out of it yet. Is still able to stay behind Teko Ezan, to try to take advantage of the tow. Unfortunately, he moved out in the air, in the open air there just now. Perhaps to try to cool down his brakes maybe, but that again, Cedar Wire is already pulling way ahead now. Significant gap between himself and Ezanle, and surely it's going to make it a lot harder for Ezan to try to defend his 5th position against Ayman Zeke. So let's hope they don't get into too much contact later on. Ladies and gentlemen, 17 minutes to go in this race right now. Not quite at the halfway point, but you can already sense a lot of tension in the air here, especially in this 3-way battle here. Ezan trying to close the distance through braking. Let's have a look at the replay here. I think it's going to be on board onto Francesco. So this is this is a dive on the inside that Aceto tried to do. I don't know whether that's advisable really, and perhaps that's going to be grounds for protest on Francesco's part. But I really want. I don't think we will be able to see how Luca Martino overtook Francesco there, because it looked like Luca was already ahead of Francesco at that point. I thought that spin was what caused Francesco, what allowed Luca Martino to inherit first place, but it seemed like he already completed a move like maybe several corners before that. So, sensational things going on here, ladies and gentlemen, as we approach the 14-minute mark. Sorry, not the 14-minute, the 9-minute mark right now on race number 2 here. Ivan Zeke still trying to keep himself close enough. I think it is on Leia, though he's going completely buck wild onto those curbs right now. Ezanle though still able to hold on to that 5th place, even though he is not going to be taking too much of a toll. Obviously the Wise car right now, the gap between the two of them, I think is a little bit too far for that. But nevertheless, he's still going to try his level best here to stay ahead of Ayman Hazik through this situation here. Right now, I mean, man, Luca Martino has had a fastest lap of like 159.559, whereas everyone else is like 2 minutes or more. I mean, it's, I mean, again, from what we saw in practice already, Luca Martino was so prepared for this race. He was only 1 second clear out of everyone during practice, so I think it was like a foregone conclusion. At least for me, a foregone conclusion as soon as he already got past Nur Shalizan, that he should be able to cruise his way to the lead here, as we've already seen happen before us. But the battle's still not quite over between Ayman Hazik and Tengku Ezanle, though. You can see the gap between Tengku as well as the wires is widening lap after lap after lap here, as he loses out on the ability to get the toe off of him, and that's losing him so much time now, especially compared to Ayman Hazik. Ayman is going to have a pink on the inside here coming to his turn 1, but Tengku doesn't really take a defensive line, actually, having full confidence in being able to hit the breaking point in time there to stay ahead of Ayman Hazik. So it looked like that battle is still going to keep on being prolonged here. But Shalizan now actually has recovered relatively well here, keeping up close with Shari Zulkarnain right now. He's going to give him a challenge now for P2. He's already alongside him as they try to get down to Sector 2 here, and that's both showing a bit of an awkward situation there, locking up his tires a little bit through this technical bit downhill. And that's certainly looking like a wounded animal right now on Sharik's part here, as Nur Shalizan keeps the pressure on him. Oh, a little bit testy over the curbs there, but nevertheless still kept it under control. Again, these cars don't have traction control nor ABS, so this is a very, very challenging car to drive, even in the best of times. So Shalizan right now doing very well to keep Sharik very much under pressure here. If he's able to get past him, then perhaps he will be able to at least mitigate any more damage that Luca Martino will be able to do to his points. Although to chase Luca for the lead here, I think might be a bit out of the question, but nevertheless, Shalizan will still try. So, as it were, right now, the two battles to kind of keep an eye on here is between Shalizan as well as Zulkarnain. I think Ayman Hazik is backed up a little bit from the Ezanle here. I see a 1.2 second gap between the two of them, so seems like he's not been able to keep himself within the toe quite yet. So this seems like the only battle that is going to be unfolding right now. Trying to keep the toe, but again, not really closing the gap. It's actually opened up by a tenth by the time we got to the end of the straight here. So I think like Zulkarnain is still a little bit too fast for Shalizan to be able to make an overtake quite yet. So I think he's probably going to be hoping to capitalize on the mistake on Zulkarnain's part. But is that going to happen within the next 12 minutes? I don't know. I think like Zulkarnain has shown so far that he's at the very least is still a very clean and very consistent driver. So I think Shalizan is going to have his work cut out of him. Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry, Shalizan. I think I might have done a commentator curse on you there, my friend. I was just only praising him for being so consistent, and he just lost it in that corner there, dropping down to 6th place right now. Ay. Oh boy. That battle between him and Shalizan is unfortunately coming to close now. Shalizan wins, or rather wins P2 right now. 4.5 seconds between himself and Luca, so it's going to be quite a while before he's able to catch up. Let's have a look one more time. I saw Charizard dip his tires into there. I think that might have compromised his grip a little bit. Didn't expect the balance of the car to get completely thrown off there, so just completely ate that slide over there. Oh boy. Francesco Geniale though, looks like he might have a chance to make up a place here if he can catch up to Zuka 9, because that mistake that Zuka 9 did has actually put him in touching distance of Francesco right now, and Francesco senses an opportunity here. He's going to get the chase for sure. Bit of a slide, a neutral slide as it were here for Zuka 9. Geniale, going way off the track there. That's going to compromise his exit for sure and open up the gap a little bit, so perhaps Zuka 9 can breathe a little bit easier for this next section here. But Francesco is still close enough to still remain a threat right now for 6th place. Don't think anyone else is that much closer. I think Ayman Azik is slowly etching away at the gap between himself and Izanlay, so hopefully he'll be able to catch up with him by the time we get to the end of this race here. But again, as we've seen with race 1, you know, you're never guaranteed to know when the last lap is going to happen, so if anything, you want to try to make that move sooner rather than later, or rather you have to kind of time it just about right. It can be kind of hard to do, especially with how fast Luca Martino has been out on track so far. 10 minutes left in this race here, so that should be about 5 to 6 laps to go. Zuka 9 still trying to keep himself ahead of Francesco, going way wide off of that last turn there. Again, has to be careful. Last time around, he completely spun out. This time, he braked a little bit earlier, so that unfortunately has allowed Francesco to catch up quite well to him now. That's keeping him in play here for this run. Oh boy, look at that, almost touching the bumpers there as they come through that slow section. Another slow section is going to be coming up now, the double apex turn, as it were, a huge braking point there, slowing the cars down significantly before they get onto the straight. But Francesco and Zuka 9 still able to stay online here as he tucks in behind for the toe. No opportunity for an overtake quite yet, and I think if I was in Francesco's shoes, probably be biding my time and being very patient about it as well, regardless. But nevertheless, still that battle to unfold here, ladies and gentlemen. Luca Martino now 5.1 seconds ahead of Charizard. Oh my goodness, this Italian is a little bit too fast there, my friend. Yeah, way too fast. So I think I saw Francesco getting a little bit of a slide there. I think that has opened up the gap even more now. 1.1 seconds between himself and Charizard 9 now, so that's making it a lot harder for him to keep the chase going on from the 6th place. So perhaps, again, he's probably going to wait or rather work very hard in this next 8 minutes to try to close that gap. And speaking of closing that gap, I'm going to see not able to close up significantly to Izanlay either. So still a 1.1 second gap between himself and P4 right now. And Luca Martino is just strolling away into the sunset right now. 9 laps into this here. I mean, nothing is going to be like stopping him at this point except himself, really. So let's hope he has got himself fueled up fully for race number 2 here. But I think, like, given the pace he has, given the buffer he has to no shot, even a simple mistake on his part shouldn't be that unrecoverable for him. There we go. So Ayman Azik currently trying to catch up with Izanlay. Oh, a lot of understeer. Obviously coming out there, I think it might be eating away too much performance out of his tires. Francesco getting so close now to Charizard 9. Could this be an opportunity for him to take a dive, or is he going to be tucked in behind by the time we get to the end of this? I don't think Charizard will be giving too many opportunities here for Francesco. Can he go there? Oh, he spun out! He spun it out! Oh no, Francesco! He had an opportunity and knew he had it, but he just lost it. He just let it slip by his fingers now. Well, good news for him, at least as Gareth also made a mistake through that corner there, so no threat right now to his P7 position. But man, that was so close for him. Could have been a pass here if he hadn't made a mistake, but oh well. bygones be bygones. Francesco still in 7th place, shows up and I'm breathing probably going to be breathing very easy now as the pressure has been completely lifted up of him now at this point. Now all eyes on Ayman Haziq now because he's currently the closest now to P4 than he has been in the last few laps, although only by a margin of a single 10. But nevertheless, if he can slowly edge away at that gap within his next 6 minutes, perhaps he could be on for a top 4. Hopefully to make up for the slight disappointment that was the first few laps for him, where he lost a few places. But here, let's have a look at the replay right now. I think this is Francesco here trying to go against Tariq. Cooked it too hard on the exit. I think it might have been a little bit too eager to get on the gas by the time they cut the apex. I think went a little bit too early on that, or just too overly excited on his right foot. That's completely spun him out by the time he got through the apex there. Very unfortunate for Francesco, but then again, when you're chasing so hard, sometimes you're just a little bit over eager to complete that turn, forgetting that these cars can be very sensitive to those kind of inputs. But Ayman Haziq very close now to Dr. Izanleh, still keeping out of control, but again, getting loose in the exit of that turn there means that you lose out in time to Dr. Izanleh, and that's allowed him to open up the gap by the time he gets to the end of the straight here. So that's something that Ayman Haziq has to bear in mind though. Just making sure that he stays close enough to Denghu. This is probably not going to be the best place to try to make an overtake. I think it's still going to be mostly turn 1 in order to try to make that move, or at least the downhill section. But even like earlier, I was noticing Ayman was doing massive corrections and having massive understeer as well. So I'm worried that he might actually have like overheated his tires, or perhaps lost a lot of grip right now, because it seems like he's struggling to try to keep the car under control, especially on these exits here. And that, I think, is what's primarily holding him back from being able to keep the challenge on Dr. Izanleh right now. As we come along to the main straight, he's already lost quite a bit of time compared to early on in second 2. So I think he needs to try to tidy up those inputs, or perhaps might be nursing an issue going on with his grip levels right about now. But at least for Dr. Izanleh, doesn't seem to be too concerned at the moment, at least in terms of like lap time. Even though Ayman Haziq has been able to get quite a few gains that last lap there, I think pace-wise these two are very much evenly matched here. So again, still going to be battled about who really has more time performance, I think, by the time we get to the final minutes of this race, which we're quickly approaching right now. 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go here, ladies and gentlemen, which means that it's probably about 2 laps at most here for these guys to try to compete from here on out. And Luca Martino still on lap 11 right now. He's already gone past the line here, so I think it still might be just about 2 more laps to go in this race here. It's very hard to tell. Again, running based on time, not total laps here, so it's pretty much all up to Luca here to see whether or not we will get that final lap by the time the timer ends. But nevertheless, I think Ayman is struggling very hard to try to keep up with the Izanleh here. You can see clearly he's struggling with the grip on his cars now. Kieran Lee though posing a bit of a obstruction right now for Izanleh, forcing him to get a little bit off the line a bit on the exit. But oh boy, Ayman Haziq was not able to get past Kieran Lee that time though, so that unfortunately is put him in a bit of a block here. And Kieran is actually locking up his tires significantly, and that's further compromise Ayman, I think, as Kieran just goes completely wide and off the track there. I think Ayman Haziq now, as he come across the line, has actually lost about a tenth or 2 because of that obstruction there, and that's I think might just be enough to force it out of the total, or rather out of the slipstream of Izanleh's car, and just further adding his woes right now, I think, coming down this first section here. Again, still trying to chase very hard onto Izanleh. Is still all to play for right now in this next 2 minutes here. Luca Martino still very much staying like seconds ahead of Nurshadizan. That was already 6.5 seconds. This guy is like not relenting at all here, ladies and gentlemen. He's just constantly pulling away from the rest, and that just goes to show the level of pace that he has compared to everyone else. You can just see the wire come across the screen just now. He's currently a very comfortable third place right now. I'm gonna Zeke. Oh, having a nice peek on the inside there is on Lei coming to exit. I think it's gonna be on the verge of making that move, and it looks like he wants to make that move sooner rather than later. Taking a very aggressive line. Okay, just keeps it nice and tidy on the exit. Still a little bit loose though from I'm in Zeke's part. I think may not have gained as much speed as he wanted to, although he does benefit from a bit of toe here coming off of Izan's car. Still not going to be enough for him to make the pass quite yet, at least not in this section here. Still very hard to do so in this part of the track. All he has to wait until he gets to the final turn. If he can just keep close enough. Izan, although Izan is getting a little bit loose though, so he may not be in the best situation when it comes to grip right now too. So this could be the opportunity of Ayman Azik to strike. He keeps himself close to Izan Lei's bumper now. Coming around in the final turn, taking the big on the inside. Is he going to be going for it? Not quite. Still, Izan Lei is able to break at the same time as he does, so not quite a lot of differential between the two as it comes around the main straight. 40 seconds still to go. This could be the final lap between the two of them as Izan Lei teases a little bit of going into the baller that splits into the pit lane there. But again, a very defensive maneuver there for sure as Izan tries to keep Ayman Hazik behind as much as he can through the first turn. So, is he going to be able to keep him behind for the whole stretch? No, I don't know. But still looking at the final lap here, ladies and gentlemen. The final chance now for Ayman Azik. He has to make the move happen somewhere here. Didn't quite happen in the first 3 turns. No matter, we still have the next sector to come true, but still not able to close the gap before they enter into the downhill section. So he's still going to have to try to stick as close as he can to Izan Lei's back. By the time they get to the slowest part of the track, and he has to very much be mindful about how he tackles these curves here. You see him time and time again. Oh, very, very testy and very slidey there through that part, but still able to keep it in control. Izan Lei is still able to stay ahead right now, because Ayman Azik doing his level best right now to stay on his tail. Still trying to find his way to a turn 4. Can he make the dive through here? Not quite though. Izan Lei still able to keep himself nicely on the racing line there, and Ayman Azik not able to capitalize too much, getting a little bit too loose. Then the exit there, I think they might have compromised him a bit in this chase down to get to Izan Lei. Let's see whether or not he'll be able to close the gap by the time they get to the final turn. But the timer has already run out, ladies and gentlemen. Luca Martino's just finished sector 2. He's entered the final sector now as we're still on board with Ayman Azik. He's still trying to chase Izan Lei as best he can. But the thing is, there's only so many corners left here. Oh boy, Ayman Azik on the verge of trying getting into P4. Had been close a few times, but still I think Izan Lei is able to stay ahead of him throughout. Now Luca Martino comes now to celebrate his win back-to-back now on Bahrain, to solidify his position on the Drivers' Championship right now. Shahrizad should be following up closely behind him as Ayman Azik not able to close in until Izan Lei will be taking 4th and 5th place respectively here. And that pretty much brings an end to their intense battle here. And Cedar Wire takes a very respectable 3rd place and holding another podium position for him, though he will certainly have loved to be able to finish ahead of Shahrizad for sure, but fortunately had to make the best of his circumstances here, and I think an awesome recovery, all things considered. Shahrizad, of course, taking yet another P2 here to Luca Martino's win, so at the very least it's not too far behind by the time we get to Sepang, but he's certainly hoping to at least get a win or 2 maybe on this round, but sadly Luca Martino will be continuing to stretch that lead now in the Drivers' Championship. So with Ayman Azik having finished behind Taku Izan Lei, again, fantastic battle between the two of them. Honestly, that was bringing us quite a bit of excitement towards the end of this race here. Behind them, Sharik Zulkarnain finishes in 6th place ahead of Francesco Geniale. So it seems like Francesco wasn't quite able to recover after making the mistake and spinning out completely in his attempt to try to keep Sharik Zulkarnain under pressure. So here is the provisional results, I think. Yeah, I think this is a provisional results right now for race number 2 here. Luca Mattino with the win here. Nur Shalizan in second place. Tito Wire in third, rounding out the podium here. Dengru Ezamli, best of the rest, able to keep himself ahead of Ayman Hazik throughout. Credit for him being able to do that for like what seems like the majority of the race, actually. So good on him for being able to do that. Amin Zig, of course, in 5th place. Shari Sukan 9th in the 6th spot, ahead of Francesco Geniale, ahead of Gareth Husni, who finished in 8th. Ozair actually finishes ahead of Kieran Lee this time around, so at least was able to make a place, which is fantastic, considering that he had a terrible start to the day here, with that spin in race number 1, eventually culminating in him having to retire from the race at the end of it. And that is it, I believe, for our Bahrain leg of the Porsche series, brought to you by Hot Rockets Racing Club. So, hope you guys enjoyed the commentary here. It's a little bit tiring, I'm not gonna lie, especially doing it all by myself. But again, I'm just enjoying the entertainment that these boys were able to deliver out on track here. I mean, Luca Martino, so dominant here in this Porsche series. They can stop this guy's tracks here. Nice little picture. It's yeah, really fun race here. Super glad to be able to come out to watch you guys and give you guys some commentary. And again, his absolute victory there. We're gonna be finding out in the next edition. At least for Nur Shalizan, I really hoped that he was gonna be able to at least like trade a win against Luca Martino that will perhaps kept the championship a lot closer between the two of them. But sadly, was only able to do P2 for both races. Still a very respectable result, regardless, though. But unfortunately, in the calculus of this championship right now, that still means that Luca Martino continues to widen his points gap here. So, with that all said and done here, I think that should bring us to an end here when it comes to round 4 this Hot Rockets Porsche Series 2023. My name is Victor Cax. This has been quite the exciting couple of races here. Hopefully, we'll see you guys yet again for the final round of this championship here. Make sure you guys don't miss it out, as we're going to be going on to Sepang for that. Thanks again once more to the Hot Rockets Racing Club for inviting me on for this, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the future. So thank you so much. Good night and good luck.